CDOT, can you hear?
Yes, we can hear that. We don't hear anything now if something's happening.
Can you hear it? Can you hear us now?
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
we can hear you.
Could you try that again, please? I'm so sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Say that again?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can. Sorry about that. Thank you.
No worries. We can hear you clearly.
That's okay. All right, everybody, we're going to light this candle. Good evening and welcome to the August 5th Zoning Committee work session. My name is Douglas A. Welton and I serve as the chairman for the Zoning Committee. This meeting is being streamed online via YouTube and in accordance with all applicable meeting statutes. Requirements of notices, access, and minutes are being met by electronic means. The public hearing for the zoning petitions that we're hearing tonight have been held at a previous date in front of City Council and the Zoning Committee. This meeting is not a continuation of those hearings, so there will be no public input unless the committee has a specific question, in which case the committee will suspend the session and ask that particular question to the petitioner directly. A couple of orders of business before we get started here. If you are around our little table adventure here, please keep your mics muted when you're not speaking. State your name if you're going to make a motion or a second. And always remember that the disposition of any petition that we talk about here this evening requires 4 votes in the majority to go forward. If 4 votes cannot be accomplished, then the petition will be deferred. We'll begin tonight with introductions from the committee, and we will start to my left with Commissioner Stewart.
Robin Stewart, Zoning Commission.
Erin Shaw, Zoning Committee.
Melissa Gaston, Zoning Committee.
Clayton Seeley, Planning Committee, but making a cameo for Zoning Committee. No autographs.
Michael Caprioli, Zoning Committee, formerly of the Planning Committee.
Rick Winokur of the Planning Committee, sitting by special designation.
Thank you very much to our committee members who are sitting in with us tonight. We will also now begin with the introductions of staff, and we will begin with Ms. Kramer, who is on our left.
Holly Kramer, planning staff.
John Kinley, zoning administration staff.
Michael Russell, planning staff.
Max Oliver, planning staff.
Emma Canarhas, planning staff.
Raquel Jones, planning staff.
Joe Mangum, planning staff.
Shayla Tippett, planning staff.
Thanks. Now we will do introductions for those of you who aren't in the room with me. You're online, so you have an exciting adventure to tell us about who you are. So go ahead.
Isaiah Washington, Charlotte Department of Transportation.
Natalie King with Charlotte Department of Transportation. And we will also be joined by Chris Mano, who's currently listed as a guest, but is working on becoming a panelist.
And Drew Ritter, CDOT.
Thanks very much for those joining us online. We have a couple of items of business that we need to take care of before we get started this evening. And the first item we're going to take care of is to elect a vice chair for this committee. And do I hear anyone having a nomination or self-nominating for vice chair of the zoning committee? I will nominate Ms. Melissa Gaston as vice chair for the zoning committee. Do I hear a second for that nomination? Are there any other nominations? That's silence. Do I hear a second for that nomination?
Winokur, second.
All right. All in favor of Melissa being vice chair of the zoning committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Melissa, for your service and all that good stuff. We look forward to the excitement that you're going to bring to each one of these meetings as we go forward into the future. Thank you very much. Second item of business that we need to take care of is our zoning work session for September, which is currently scheduled for September 2nd. And that is the Tuesday immediately following Labor Day. Usually what happens if there's a holiday that falls in between the zoning session for city council and our zoning work session, we postpone that meeting appropriately, generally a day. The notion is that we will move that September 2nd meeting to September 3rd. Do I hear a motion that we accept that movement of that meeting to September 3rd as opposed to September 2nd?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Thank you very much. Do I hear a second?
Stewart, second.
It's been moved by Gaston and properly seconded by Stewart. All those in favor of moving the September 2nd meeting to the September 3rd, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's taken care of. Now we'll get on to the other fun stuff we do before we start doing our review, and that is the deferrals. And Ms. Kramer, would you give us some info on that?
Yes, we have two deferrals tonight. We have Project 2024-127 by Wood Partners and Project 2025-036 by Rangeworks Real Estate, both requesting a deferral to the September 3rd meeting. And those are the only two that we have tonight.
Thank you very much. Do I hear a motion that we accept those deferrals?
Motion, Seeley.
Second, Gaston.
It's been moved by Seeley, properly seconded by Gaston. All those in favor of accepting the deferrals, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All righty, then we can get on to the business of this adventure that we're having here. And that is item number 4 on our agenda, which is rezoning petition number 2001-016C. And that's going to be brought to us by John Kinley. John, could you tell us a little bit about, this is an innovative request.
Yes.
And John, I would ask you, just for the sake of the new members that we have here, can you particularly tell us what an innovative request is and what the process is with this?
Yeah, I'll do my best here on this first slide. So what is an innovative request? It applies only to specific legacy conditional zoning districts. In this case, the site and property that was rezoned in 2001 is zoned MX3 as part of that overarching conditional zoning plan for the Palisades development. The ordinance allows the applicant to request modifications to the base ordinance standards, including all these that are listed here. Specifically for this case, be looking at the setbacks in yards, particularly, and the applicant may, and it's subject to the zoning committee's approval, can modify those listed standards established in the regulations of the zoning ordinance and subdivision ordinance for the city of Charlotte in order to accommodate a development project proposed in the applicable zoning district. The ordinance doesn't state any sort of specific criteria for these requests, so it's pretty much, whatever the developer is requesting, we'll look at staff, zoning administration staff will look at, give a recommendation to you all, and you generally try to work out any sort of kinks ahead of time before we present it to you so that you have something clean to look at and approve. And Emma, if you'll go to the next slide, we will jump into the details of this request. So again, it's zoned out here. It's MX3 zoning. This is out on the west side of town, close to the lake. And this is the Palisades development. The Palisades development was a real large rezoning, included multiple phases and multiple zoning districts. And the area specifically that we're looking at is up in here, which was a town that basically denoted as the town center of the Palisades development. And that town center area was zoned MX3. And if you go to the next slide. So the original rezoning plan approved for that area showed a kind of a town center, village center area in this quadrant. And the site specifically that we're looking at is generally where the blue circle is on all three of these images. The town center zone portion of the development contained the following provisions in page 9 of their development standards, note 17. And it basically said that the petitioner, in accordance with the provisions of section 11 of the old zoning ordinance at the time, which covers innovative standards, may propose modifications to the following standards. And it lists again what items could be requested as innovative, and including setbacks in yards, which is it's hard to read, but it's the 4th bullet on that list essentially. Again, no specific criteria in the conditional zoning plan. So we just kind of look to make sure it's kind of consistent with what else has been happening out in that area, and how it compares with other zoning standards that we have in place today. Next slide, please. So this is the administratively amended plan. So the original rezoning was administratively amended. The ordinance allows for the zoning administrator to make changes to site plan layouts. So that's why what you see on the screen here is different than what the layout you would see in the original rezoning plan. There's no roundabouts at the intersections, for example, and the street layout's a little bit different. The placement of the buildings is slightly different. So the idea was that original zoning plan was more conceptual in nature, and as they develop each phase, they come in for administrative amendment to basically nail down the exact layout of their development. So this administrative amendment applied to this particular parcel that we're looking at. It's kind of a Y shape, and that was approved in September of 2024. You can go to the next slide, Emma. So now, as they're finalizing their development plans, they would like to request some innovative standards for their setbacks in order to make their development plan work for this particular parcel. So they're seeking a reduction of the rear yard. The base ordinance requirement is 40 feet, and they're looking to change that to 20 feet for a 20-foot reduction, and that would be along the western and northern and eastern property lines. And then along Tuluk Road, the reduction of a front setback measured from the right-of-way from 30 feet to 20 feet. Again, that's the 30 feet comes from the base MX3 ordinance standard. And so the innovative request there is to do 20 feet instead. And then internal street, along the internal private network street, the setback is measured from the public access easement, since it's not a public right-of-way. And that distance, again, is 30 feet from that easement, and they're requesting to reduce that to 17 feet, which is a 13-foot reduction. Next slide. So the areas, this is just an image that shows the areas where those reductions would be taking place. This red dashed line along the western and northern and western property lines here. Again, would be 20-foot rear yard, a 20-foot setback measured along the right-of-way of Tuluk, and then there's a little section of internal private street that's required for subdivision ordinance requirements, network required street, and that's where they would be asking for 17 feet along that edge of easement. And then along the eastern boundary, 20-foot rear yard as well. Along the eastern property line, they do have a private agreement with the abutting church to do some landscape buffers. And so any requirements as a result of that private agreement would supersede the 20-foot rear yard requirement. Staff has reviewed the request and we recommend approval of the innovative request. And I'll just kind of briefly go over our kind of rationale and reasons why. So the site is located in the town center portion of the Palisades development, and the town center area is intended to be developed in a walkable mixed-use form. So a reduction of the setbacks, would support a more walkable environment. The parcel is shaped like a Y, which creates odd building and development envelopes, and the proposed rear yard allows for a more efficient layout and compact design within the town center area. Along the eastern property line, the abutting church has a privately agreed upon tree buffer that's 37.5 feet in width and would supersede the 20-foot rear yard. The proposed reduced front setback support a more compact development, placing buildings closer to the street, enhancing pedestrian experience and pedestrian access to the buildings. And the setbacks in yards are consistent with the N2A standards of the UDO for multifamily stacked and attached development. And the requested innovative yards and setbacks are consistent with other innovative approvals that have occurred in the Palisades development over the years. The standard 30-foot front setback remains along Highway 49 and Grand Palisades Parkway, as they are major thoroughfares. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much, John. Does anyone have any questions?
I just have one.
We'll do ladies first. Commissioner Gaston.
Yes, just had a question where you talked about they have a private agreement with the church behind them on that particular parcel. Are they required to submit that private agreement to you all as part of the plan?
Because it's a private agreement, it's really up to them and the neighboring property owner. City staff doesn't get involved with private agreements between property owners. So I don't know, they probably will provide it just to show that, explain why they're placing the buildings where they are, but it's not going to be a requirement for our review. Yeah, I think the initial proposal that we saw when they came to talk to us about it was they were trying to work with the church to kind of do away with the private agreement entirely, because the church does have some landscaping and trees on their property as well. But in further discussions and as we went along with the review of this request, they agreed to do just a reduce it down from what it was originally. I think originally it was a 50-foot buffer that they had agreed upon, and they've reduced that down to 37.5 feet, which is consistent with what we would require for a buffer in our legacy zoning ordinance anyway. So we're comfortable with with that, and the fact that it's greater than what they requesting the rear yard to be reduced to is fine. And if they end up doing away with the agreement entirely, it would be consistent with what we would see for any other multifamily development in terms of a rear yard in this case.
Commissioner Caprioli.
Really, Douglas, this is the first one I have to see.
We love you, Michael. and we wanted
Okay,
to make you feel welcome.
I'm going to start out by saying I am probably going to have to, for ethical reasons, abstain from any vote on this because I'm the president of the Palisades Master Association. I also happen to be part of the water quality control issue. This is not part of the Palisades community per se, but it is part of the Palisades Water Quality Management Plan, which in 2003, when it was established, the Army Corps of Engineers called it a very innovative plan. This plan is regressive from that plan. I would like to point out that when the Lakeside Apartments were made west of there, 3 or 4 years ago, there was an algae bloom in the lake, in the Boyd Cove. God gave us a warning, said, stop this construction along the lake because it's very shallow, and eventually it cleared up by itself. There's such a concern out there for the contamination sediment into the lake, that there is a buoy that is now and forever shall be out there in Buster Boyd Bridge, continually monitoring that. Before any of this goes forward, I would like to see some input from Charlotte Mecklenburg Stormwater, because the reduction of those backyards, they're not just trees, they are actually forest buffers. They're part of the stormwater control management system. If you're reducing that, well, now you're impacting our water supply. Downhill from that is also a wetland preservation area that's conveniently left off of the map. I would like to see the towns, I've been here when I was with the Planning Commission, I would like to see the town center go in, but we have to do it in an environmentally smart way. And I'll leave it at that. As I said, nothing in here mentions the Palisades Water Quality Management Plan. There are all kinds of restrictions that a developer has to follow in that area, such as double silting.
And they'll still be expected to meet all of the stormwater requirements and plans that were put in place for the development. That was not part of our review and doesn't fall under our purview.
Right.
So really all we were looking at from an innovative development standpoint is, are the requested setbacks in line with what we would see for this type of development in a town center type environment. Any sort of impacts to stormwater would be dealt with during permitting.
Okay. Thank you, John. This is my first meeting. That's why I said I can't believe this is the very first thing I have to say. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Weld.
Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah, thank you, John. The way you laid that out was really helpful for those of us not familiar with innovative requests. My only question was, you had referenced N2A, which was really helpful because it obviously helps to give us some context as to the setbacks. Would N2A be requiring upgraded sidewalks and tree pits and all of that, which it doesn't look like they're doing on the main thoroughfares, or would that not be included in N2A? Or maybe that's an unfair question, so maybe you don't have to answer.
It's totally different, standards with, in terms of what's triggered and to be improved and all of that whenever you have an N2A development coming in because of the changes that were made to the UDO.
Right.
They aren't proposing any reductions or anything along the main thoroughfares, being Grand Palisades and York Road. So those would just be, basically development of the site is going to be subject to the requirements of the ordinance in place at the time that this was developed, or it might be the most recent legacy ordinance. I'm not sure which applies here, but or it might be actually it's probably the legacy ordinance that's in place whenever the administrative amended plan was approved. So I'm not totally familiar with what all gets triggered with those improvements, given that's in the legacy ordinance. So unfortunately, I don't really have the details as to what the streetscape would look like out there.
Sure. Yeah, I guess my only question, or where I was going with it, is it feels like the setbacks comply with N2A, which I know is you're just giving us that for context, not because the whole site complies with N2A, but then my understanding of N2A and obviously beyond in terms of density is there's pretty stringent sidewalk and tree pit requirements. So so it's sort of like they're getting to cherry pick what they want, what sort of works. And I don't know that I have an issue with it. I was just making the point that they're maybe getting the benefit of what the setbacks would be, but not having to do the streetscape improvements that would be required under current UDO.
And like I said before, when I was kind of going the overview, the ordinance it doesn't really give any sort of criteria for how we evaluate these requests. So it's pretty much the developer can ask for it, and then you guys have the ability to approve the request or not. And in the past, we've staff has reviewed it and given a recommendation, and after our review, we felt that what they were requesting was appropriate.
Sure. And sorry, last question, just on that you reminded me of it with the comment on administrative. So presumably there was no public hearing on this. And is there a city council vote at all, or is our vote?
There would have been, a public hearing in 2001
Right,
whenever
but
the
not-
original rezoning was approved. The administrative amended plans don't have a public hearing. I think there's a notification requirement with those. And then innovative requests, there's not any sort of notification requirement or hearing requirement for them. Right. Y'all's vote is determinative.
Michael?
Yeah, in regards to the setback, this area is in the ETJ and lots of development out there, and the roads are maintained by NCDOT. NCDOT doesn't care about setbacks. I would love to see all of the city ordinances put into place out there, but we have several developments going in right now. They're pushing right up to the roadway. I don't know if that's an issue here or not.
I just want to make a note really quick before we get further in discussion, because I think there is something mentioned at the top, and I know we have a new committee right now. If there's ever any doubt about any position that you've served on in the past, or you're part of a neighborhood organization, and there might be, and I'm not saying that there is, if there is some sort of conflict of interest, you could recuse yourself from the discussion and vote ahead of the item being presented. So just let us know ahead of time, is certainly ideally ahead of the item discussion. Just want to note that.
Any other questions, comments? Michael, if you would like to be recused, we're going to vote on that right now. So decide whether or not you feel that there's a conflict that you have.
Oh, yeah, there's a definite conflict.
Okay, all right. Can I have a motion that we accept Michael's ability to be recused?
Motion.
Second, Gaston.
All right, it's been moved. It's been moved by Commissioner Seeley, seconded by Commissioner Gaston, that we allow Commissioner Caprioli to be recused on this vote. Please go out of the room for a little bit. We're going to take a vote, and we'll come get you when it's time. Yeah, you have to leave the room. It's like that sort of thing. We'll come get you in a second. Is there any other discussion that we need to have on this? Otherwise, I believe that what we do is we just simply take a vote as to whether or not to accept the innovative request. So I will put that to a vote now. All those in favor of accepting this innovative request, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That innovative request is passed unanimously. Brick, will you go get Michael, bring him back in the room?
Thank you all for your time and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, John. We know that you only come so you can leave early.
I have that shirt.
Yeah, right. I've never seen you say, please put me into the last item on the agenda. All right, as soon as we get our folks back in, we'll move on to item number 5. Oh, God.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Howard, for that reminder. We appreciate you.
Come on back into the meeting. All right, we're on to item number 5 on our agenda this evening, rezoning petition number 2022-112. It is by Dream Key Partners. And Joe Mangum, will you please take us through this one?
Will do. Petition 2024-112 is approximately 4.4 acres located on the east side of Beatties Ford Road, south of Slater Road, and north of Cindy Lane. Property is currently occupied by one single-family dwelling. Current zoning is N1B. Proposed zoning is N2A CD. The site and all surrounding properties are recommended for the neighborhood 1 place type. The proposal is for a community of 40 multifamily attached residential dwellings. Buildings would be limited to 6 units. They're committing to a workforce housing program for a minimum of 30% of the total number of units for a period of 30 years at 80% or less of the area median income. A 10-foot Class C landscape yard be located along the northern, eastern, and southern property boundaries. Open space, tree save, and stormwater detention areas be at the eastern corner, and we'll see on the next slide the revision of that location of the open space. There's a natural gas easement along the northern property boundary that would be maintained. Access would be through constructing the fourth leg of the intersection of Beatty's Ford Road and Caps Hill Mine Road. A public street network with an east-west and north-south street would be provided to access the units. And building and parking areas bisected by that north-south public street. And petition would add an 8-foot planting strip and 12-foot multi-use path along the site's Beatty's Ford Road frontage. Since the public hearing, the open space amenity area has been revised to be right along Public Street B. I've also added a conditional note stating that units fronting Beatty's Ford Road will have front doors facing the public street, and also confirmed that the petition is meeting minimum standards for fire access. There's one outstanding issue, more of just a labeling issue with Public Street B, but staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of that issue. It is inconsistent with the policy map recommendation for the N1 place type. However, the proposed multifamily attached dwellings would provide an additional housing option in a housing gap. The petition commits to providing a workforce housing program. The site is within a quarter mile of a commercial node at Beatty's Ford Road and Cindy Lane. And petition will install the fourth leg of the signalized intersection of Beatty's Ford Road and Caps Hill Mine Road. And I will be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Joe. Do I hear any questions or comments from the committee? I will simply ask, are both of those streets A and B public streets? Is that what I heard?
Correct.
All right, and there will be a signal placed on Beatty's Ford where this...
There's an existing signal.
There's an existing signal there?
And they'll be providing a fourth leg.
Okay, all right.
That's correct.
I'm in my mind, I think I'm thinking of the wrong intersection then. Why? Okay, maybe I've just sped through that light all the time. All right, does anybody have any?
Red means stop.
Oh,
That's you. Or they keep saying.
I have no earthly idea what you people are talking about. Do I hear no? If there are no comments, do I hear a motion for the disposition of this petition, item number 5 on our agenda?
Motion to approve Sealy, having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-112 and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before. I'm sorry, as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it also appears before us. I'm rusty. I'm sorry.
Winokur, second.
It's been moved by Sealy and seconded by Winokur, the Sealy-Winokur combo. No, that does not work. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. We're on to item number 6 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2025-013 by True Homes. And Michael, will you take us through this one, please?
Certainly. Certainly, this is 2025-013. It's approximately 8.43 acres located along the north and south side of Mentworth Avenue, west of Margaret Wallace Road, and east of Wyalong Drive. You can see the larger site and context there. The current zoning is neighborhood services and neighborhood 2B. The proposed zoning is neighborhood 2B conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the commercial place type for this area. In this proposal, it allows up to 64 multifamily attached dwelling units under the N2B zoning district. Some of the transportation provisions include provide multiple access points to the site from Mentworth Avenue, Mentworth Links Lane, and Wyalong Drive. The petitioner will extend the current left turning lane on Margaret Wallace Road 100 feet. That provides a 10-foot wide Class C landscape yard along the western boundaries of the site. Provides a 8-foot planting strip and 8-foot sidewalks along Margaret Wallace Road. And the site is served by CATS bus 52X, and the petitioner will coordinate with CATS on any bus stop improvements. There have been changes since the public hearing. Sort of on the environmental side, the petitioner has clarified issues such as location and sizes of green and open spaces and committed to enhance design elements on the site plan and in the notes. For site and building design, the petitioner sort of cleaned up some labeling issues on the site plan and data table relating to sort of setback sublots, solid waste, and other sort of nomenclature. And for transportation, the petitioner addressed technical revisions on the site plan and in the notes related to the dimensioning of the future backup curb and placement, right-of-way sidewalks, the SUV. And the petitioner still has a few outstanding issues related to site and building design, but they have shown staff a revised plan and agreed to submit the revised plan after the zoning committee. So staff does recommend approval of this petition. And even though the petition is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for the commercial place type, the proposed site lies in a transitional area between an established single-family neighborhood and a commercial center at the intersection of Margaret Wallace Road and Idlewild Road. Although the place type designation is commercial here and may include some auto-oriented uses, the neighborhood to place type could serve as a positive transition between established neighborhood 1 residential areas and existing commercial development. And where the rezoning boundaries abut the single-family homes, the site plan provides buffering with proposed open space areas. There's sort of similar building forms to the rezoning proposal can be found directly south of the site where there is an existing townhome community. The site is serviced by a CATS Express bus, providing transit options for future residents. The petition could facilitate the following 2040 comprehensive plan of neighborhood diversity and inclusion. And just another note that, I mean, originally this was rezoned in 2004. And in that section, it really called for office and retail, but was never developed. The Harris Teeter, and the Italian
dog
restaurant, and some of the other retail that's on the ground there today was part of that 2004 rezoning, and this section of it was never developed. So staff does recommend approval.
All right.
Take any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Shaw.
I just wanted to clarify, Michael, thanks. That was a great summary. But that you all had noted in the public hearing that you had outstanding design and transportation issues, and just confirming those were resolved appropriately.
Yes, they had a lengthy list, and they submitted a plan correcting a lot of it, just sort of technical labeling, that type of issues. There are just a couple more outstanding, sort of mainly relating to the open space and the sort of amenitizing those sections. And we've had a meeting with the petitioner and seen a plan, and they will formally submit it after this meeting. So we're fine with it.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got a question? Commissioner Winokur.
In the mid-90s, I prosecuted a misdemeanor death by vehicle case here. That exit out of that Harris Teeter is literally lethal. So hopefully the state considers it wise to do a stoplight there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Winokur. Anybody else? Otherwise, I have a couple quick ups. Commissioner Stewart.
Just a quick clarification. The 2 bodies of water that are on the site there, are those BMPs?
With 2 bodies.
Are they going to be required with the development to increase the sizes of those? or additional ones?
Yes, so as they do the plans, they'll work with stormwater to see if they need to be resized for the development. But yeah, they're staying in that general area.
Thank you.
Just a couple of questions. During the public hearing, there was some consternation and dismay about the community meeting, and I see it still has 0. Did they have a second community meeting, and did it amount to 0 people actually attending the second one? Or okay. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So that, and you also commented on this being a commercial place type. Are there any prohibited uses in there? For instance, did somebody say, hey, you can't have vehicle refueling in this area? Or is that still allowed? It'll be into? Okay.
Yeah, this will be N2B.
Okay.
zone.
All right. All right. Are there any other questions? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 6 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2025-013?
Shaw, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2025-013 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Second, Seeley.
It's been properly moved by Shaw and seconded by Seeley. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That petition passes, that motion passes unanimously. On to item number 7. Those of you who are waiting for item number 6, please leave the room. Item number 7, rezoning petition number 2025-020 by Sage Investment Group. And that one will come to us via Emma.
Hello. So petition 2025-020 is 2.56 acres located south of Tuckasegee Road, east of Queen City Drive, and west of I-85. The current zoning is CG, and the proposed zoning is N2C, conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the manufacturing and logistics place type for this site. As for the proposal consists of adaptive reuse to the existing motel to create up to 125 residential units, proposes a neighborhood commercial establishment to accommodate the restaurant use already present to remain. No new structures will be constructed. All redevelopments will occur within the existing building footprints. Existing site infrastructure, including surface parking, will be maintained. Minor exterior repairs or material updates may occur to meet current code and maintenance needs. A coordinated anti-displacement strategy will be implemented in partnership with Crisis Assistant Ministry, including a minimum of a 90-day notice to all existing tenants, individual rehousing plans developed and tracked, weekly coordination meetings to monitor progress, and property closure contingent on successful rehousing of all residents. Since the public hearing, minor changes have been amended to the conditional notes. So the restaurant, it will remain on site in use. The proposed use is unchanged. For the affordable units, it now includes a commitment of a minimum of 10% of units at 80% AMI. Once again, they added a little bit more detail on anti-displacement and a few other just minor adjustments. The staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of requested technical revisions. That just had to do more with language than any additional concerns to the rezoning proposal itself when we're talking about the technical revisions. The petition is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation, and it would revise the site plan to be, or the area to be neighborhood 2 place type for this site instead. I'll take any questions you guys may have. And as far as I'm aware, the agent for this petition is virtually as here as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I hear any comments, questions about this petition? Commissioner Gaston?
Commissioner, thank you. I was happy to see this proposal, to see that they're going to change it to. The units that are there are kind of shaky looking. And so to turn this into housing that is desperately needed, into one bedroom housing is great. Studio, are they studios, one bedrooms? It's greatly needed. I saw the work that was being done by this developer at another location off of Sugar Creek, and I was impressed there. So I would hope that this would be similar in statute to that. Thank you.
All right, does anybody else have a comment, question? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 7 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2025-020?
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2025-020 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement.
It's been moved by Commissioner Gaston and seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. We're up to item number 8 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2025-028 by Canvas Residential Partners, LLC. And Michael, will you take us through this, please?
Sure. This is approximately 8.91 acres located south of Mount Holly Huntersville Road, east of Oakdale Road, and west of Fire Street Drive. The current zoning is neighborhood 1A. The proposed zoning is neighborhood 2A conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood 1 place type. So this proposal allows up to 65 multifamily attached residential dwelling units. They limit the number of units in a building to a maximum of 4 units. It provides an 8-foot wide planting strip and a 12-foot wide multi-use path along Mount Holly Huntersville Road. Provides 8-foot wide planting strip and 8-foot wide sidewalk along Public Road A. Provides connectivity with the public street connection to the existing townhome community via Bluedale Road and a street stub to the adjacent property. Provides on-street parking on Bluedale Road. Provides open space centrally accessible to residents that consist of 4 or more of a selection of components of either enhanced plantings, specialty paving materials, shading elements, seating, minimum dimension of 50 feet or more in all directions, public art, sculpture, decorative lighting as such. It provides a 10-foot Class C landscape yard to adjacent single-family use or zoned property. Commits to the following design guidelines with garage doors visible from the street must be set back 12 to 24 inches from the front wall and includes features like translucent windows or overhead elements to reduce visual impact. Usable front and or side porches or stoops must be a prominent design feature. If they have pitched roofs, they be a minimum slope of 5 to 12. And corner and end units facing streets must include multiple windows, and blank wall areas are limited to 10 feet per level. And vinyl siding as a main material is prohibited. There have been some changes since the public hearing to clearly label and dimension the left turn lane and right turn lanes along Mount Holly Huntersville Road, and add conditional notes committing to the improvements, and to quantify and define open space requirements. So staff does recommend approval of this petition upon resolution of those outstanding issues, which we've spoken with the petitioner, and they've agreed to make those changes. So the petition is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for the neighborhood 1 place type. However, the proposed development would fill a need for housing in an area that has been identified by the 2040 comprehensive plan is lacking opportunities for access to housing. The petition seeks to address the housing need with an allowance for up to 65 residential units. The site is adjacent to Neighborhood 2 place type area that are developed as multifamily housing along Mount Holly, Huntersville Road down to Oakdale Road. They share a similar development pattern and street connectivity. The proposed plan does limit the number of units per building to 4, which is compatible with the building forms allowed in the Neighborhood 1 place type. So this provides an opportunity for a gentle increase in density. The proposed plan would continue the trend in moderate intensity residential development along that Mount Holly Huntersville corridor. And additionally, on the site, combined with the adjacent N2 place types, meets the minimum area requirements for establishing a N2 place type. The petition provides a transition from the interstate from low density residential neighborhoods on the north side of the Mount Holly Huntersville Road. And so this petition could facilitate the goal 2 neighborhood diversity and inclusion. So I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Michael. Do I have any questions or comments from the commission? If not, Michael, I have one. Is there the public road plan north off of, I guess it's Public Road A, Public Street A, intersects with whatever that road is up there? Mount Holly? Are there any constraints on that exit? Is it a right in, right out? Is there going to be signalized or anything of that nature? So yeah, okay, it's full access then. Okay. I mean, it's not particularly an issue. I think occasionally some people say that there are cars on that road. So I just wondered if I didn't want the state to be wasting their money out there, but okay. All right, I'm good. Anybody else? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 8 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2025-028?
Motion to approve Sealy, having reviewed the petition and consider the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition. I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2025-28 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it also appears before us.
Winokur, second.
It's been moved by Sealy and seconded by Winokur. Again, the Sealy
Infinite combinations, infinite diversity.
So much to unpack in this. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank goodness. That one passes unanimously. So those people who came for that petition can now leave the room. All right, we're up to item number 9 on our agenda. Rezoning petition number 2025-029 by Summit Avenue Wesley Heights LLC. Emma, you get to do the dance yet again.
Petition 2025-029 is approximately 1.49 acres located north of Freedom Drive, east of Thrift Road, and west of Wellesley Village Road. The site is currently vacant. The current zoning is mixed-use development optional with a conditional site plan amendment, and the proposed zoning is neighborhood center conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood 2 place type for this site. The proposal for this petition is actually a list of development standards to exclude certain uses, and those would include vehicle fueling facility, vehicle service, minor and major maintenance or repair, vehicle sales and rental, car wash, towing service, principal use parking lots and structures, vehicle parts, and accessory sales. Since the public hearing, there has been some revised language for clarity and consistency to the development standards, and they adjusted their proposed use section to state uses allowed by right and under prescribed conditions in NC, except for prohibited below, in addition to minor edits to match the standard UDO language. Staff does recommend approval of this petition upon resolution of requested technical revisions. Once again, those technical revisions are very minor, just more of sentence structure and consistency than anything else. I will take any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Emma. Do I hear any questions, comments on this particular petition? You weren't being a grammar Nazi on the changes to the motion for the resolution of item number 9 on our agenda, petition 2025-029.
This is Gaston. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2025-029 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement.
There a second?
Winokur, second.
All right, it's been moved by Gaston, properly seconded by Winokur. The Gaston-Winokur combo. It just doesn't have the same ring as Sealy Neely. I'm sorry. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. We're up to item number 10 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2025-037 by East Group Properties LP. Joe, you get to do the dance yet again.
Thank you. This site is approximately 1.23 acres, located on the north side of Shopton Road, west of Beam Road, and east of Pinecrest Drive. The site is currently it is surrounded by a previously approved light industrial development. The current zoning, and this can get a little tricky, so I've borrowed John's other laser pointer. So we have two portions of the site. Here we have what is currently zoned I1CD ANDO, and the eastern portion, which is currently zoned N1A ANDO. The proposed zoning would effectively swap zoning between those two parcels, with N1CD being applied here to the triangle and ML1CD being applied here to this more rectangular parcel.
Okay.
Emma, could we? The 2040 policy map recommends the manufacturing and logistics place type for the western portion, and N1 for the eastern portion. So this is a tier 1 conditional, just with some simple notes that state that use is permitted in the N1A zoning district for the western portion of the site, and only a vehicular and truck private driveway connection are permitted in the specified portion of the eastern site. Staff recommends approval. It is inconsistent with the ML place type. I think it's Isaiah playing games.
I agree.
Yeah.
Be patient with us as we have the minor technical difficulty, but life has been restored. Yay.
Here we go. So it is inconsistent for the entirety of the both portions of the rezoning site. However, the petition and an associated land swap will facilitate a more efficient vehicular and truck private driveway connection for a previously approved rezoning and light industrial development. The petition would allow for internal connectivity between two sides of a light industrial operation, reducing vehicular and truck traffic impacts to Shopton Road. The site is located approximately 2 miles south of Charlotte Douglas International Airport and is within the airport noise disclosure overlay. And I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, Joe. Do I hear any questions, comments from anyone? Joe, I will just say you get brownie points for reading all of the different designations on all of the zonings, if nothing else.
And airport noise disclosure overlays.
Oh,
Kind of a
gosh.
tongue twister, so, yeah.
Yeah, say that 3 times real fast. Okay. Do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 10 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2025-037?
Stewart, motion to approve, having reviewed the petition and consider the consistency statement prepared by staff. To approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2025-037 and the adoption of the consistency statement.
Shaw, second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Stewart and seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We are on to our last petition of the evening. That's interesting. Rezoning petition number 2025-038 by Long Valley 2 LLC and Max. You have been quiet all evening, but we want to give you a chance to talk.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present to y'all tonight. Petition 2025-038 is located on the north side of Forest Point Circle, east of Forest Point Boulevard, which are different roads, and south of West Arrowwood Road. Site's approximately 7.76 acres and contains an office building. Property is zoned BDCD, Distributive Business Conditional. The proposed zoning is OFC, Office Flex Campus, a conventional zoning district. 2040 policy map recommends the manufacturing and logistics place type. The OFC district is inconsistent with this place type, and approval of this petition would revise the policy map for campus place type. Staff recommends approval of this petition as the site and surrounding properties are devoted to office uses. The proposed OFC zoning district is compatible with the existing uses, and several of the adjacent properties are currently zoned OFC. Site's located in an area that lacks employment opportunity according to the 2040 comprehensive plan. The OFC district could help fill this employment gap. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Max, for that very expedient report. Do I have any questions or comments from the petition or from the commission on this petition? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 11, rezoning petition 2025-038?
Motion to approve Sealy, having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition. I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2025-038 as it appears.
Shaw, second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Seeley and seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously, and that is our agenda for the evening, folks. Do we have a motion for us to adjourn?
Motion.